What good is your son and your daughter if all they have is a good education, but they don't know what it means when they say you are their mother? If to them the mother is the same as any other woman, or if all they see in a father is a provider, when they want some petty cash, father. When they want something nice, father. When they want money for the tuition classes, father. Lunch money, father. If that's what father is, then the father is just a provider. You know what's going to happen then? When there comes a point where the father can no longer provide, now what is the father to them? Just a burden. An inconvenience, a nuisance. And so, what they'll try and do is find an old people's home and just dish them off into them and just say, good riddance. I have on some occasions talked to young people who have come and said, they're just a nuisance. I wish they were gone. I wish they were gone. They're just a hassle. They're just a botheration. They're just people I have to bump into at home. So we take our time and try to put sense into their heads and say, wait, young child, think about what you're saying. You don't understand who your parents are. But then, why blame them now? It's too late. And then if you follow back the trail, you realize that what the parents wanted for their children when they were younger was just to put them into a good school and give them a good education. Not to do what you're doing with your children in the other room. You tell me if your son, your daughter, who you bring here every weekend, does not change gradually over the week on week. If that doesn't happen, you come and tell me. I'll be very surprised. If you don't see a positive change in them, how they are becoming more virtuous, more understanding, more patient, more tolerant, more understanding, more in sync with actually what's going on in the environment, who resonate with nature. If all your child wants is just to go home and sit down in front of his computer and start playing computer games, there are kids like that. Unfortunately, maybe some of you have similar stories to say, but it means there are those who have such stories to say. All the children want is to, when they get back home from school, is sit down in front of their computers, and then lunch has to be served, has to be brought to the bedroom. Mom, hungry, that's it. So mother has to bring lunch and put it on the table. And they don't even look at the lunch. They take it while playing the computer game. They don't even know what they're eating. And if they can't even be bothered to take their hands off the console, then the mother has to still shove the food into their mouths. These things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening even in this country now. Didn't used to be like that. But we have globalized. Ooh, we have globalized. There are some kids who all they do all day long is just play computer games. And what these games do? It completely destroys their mind. Like I said, violent games. If there's a game that has the name theft in it, I won't say any more. It has one of the 10 unmeritorious deeds in it. You need more convincing? What's the next one you want? Grand adultery. Grand murder? This is gamification of sin. Wake up, folks. Gamification of sin. I can't fault people who produce these games because they don't know the truth. They don't realize that if it's just on a computer game, it still does the same harm. They don't know that because they don't have the Dhamma, but you do. So you need to think twice. Not twice, but 200 times. If your children are still playing these kind of games at home, forgive me for saying this, but I have to ask the question, do they deserve parents like you? Or do they deserve better? A parent is someone who should be accountable, who should be responsible, who should know what is right and wrong for their child, because the child does not have the intelligence, the knowledge, the know-how to understand what's right or wrong. That's why they call it children. They're childish. You're the one who has to make the right choices. To make the right choices, ladies and gentlemen, you have to learn these choices and their consequences, what their ramifications are. It's not enough just to learn, just to know how to have a child. Far more important it is to know how to bring one up.